All right, so my topic for this week is transgenders in athletics. Mostly the Olympics is what I'm going to be talking about. So, for the 2020 Olympics, they're making the rule that the acceptable levels will be cut to from 10 to 5 nanomoles per liter. I'm not sure if I said that word right. But it was in 2004 that they allowed transgenders to be allowed in the Olympics, and that was the Winter Olympics. And then the guidelines they had in 2004 were they have to be on hormones for at least 2 years after surgery and legally change their name. And then in 2015, they made it that the surgical requirement was dropped, and the period for being on hormones was reduced to a year. So, some good points that I came across when I was looking at a couple articles was, for example, in women's boxing, with transgenders, they're still going to compete in whatever the weight limit is. So, just because they're built bigger or something doesn't mean that they're going to outdo these women. They're still going to be in that weight class that they need to be in. There was a transgender woman cyclist that shared before transitioning, she saw how testosterone is. She shared that doesn't mean the more testosterone you have, the stronger you are, but the hormones provide a certain stamina that continues to charge you. I think that's like a good thing to hear from someone who's actually transgender because they went through the transition. They kind of see how it had affected them. And if you're still having those high levels, that is going to increase your stamina. And that's not fair to the other women athletes. So I think that's a really good point, and that's a good reason why their levels need to be brought down because that is an advantage. Some other things that I came across that I would love to hear your opinion on if you watch my video is women with naturally higher testosterone levels. There was a runner who competed in 2016 Summer Games, and she had a genetic condition where her levels were higher. And then there was another person that I came across who also had the natural level, and she wants to compete also in the Olympics. So it's just like, okay, their levels are still high too. Yeah, they're not transgender, but they're still having those high levels. And if that's the rule that you have to be within that range, then if theirs are higher than that, they shouldn't be able to compete either. It's only fair if that's what they're making the rule for transgender women. There was a transgender woman that I came across, Laurel Hubbard, who is a weightlifter. She competed in the Commonwealth Games, and she was favored to dominate, and it didn't happen because of an injury. But a lot of people were kind of upset about that because she's transgender, she's an advantage being a power lifter or a weightlifter. And then there are some other views that I had, and it was from a transgender volleyball player. She had got surgery and got her levels down to where they needed to be. She wants to compete in the 2020 Olympics in Tokyo, and she shares, I am obeying the rules. And her coach shares, assuming she earns a spot, she doesn't see a reason why she couldn't compete. And then the volleyball player shares, if my hormone levels are right, we have a right to be happy too. And I totally agree because, like I shared with those other women the other two women that naturally had their levels high in testosterone, if this transgender woman, volleyball player, has her levels low enough, then I think it's only fair that she gets to compete in the Olympics because she's doing what is said and is meeting the guidelines that they're putting. Then there's a former Brazilian gold medal volleyball player, Anna Henkel, that gave her opinion on the transgender volleyball player and said, most people don't think it's fair. Their bodies benefit from being filled with the testosterone all life long, which I think is another good point too, coming from a side that is not for people competing in athletics that are transgender because it is true they have gone their whole lives with that in their system. But if they're now working towards getting that levels down low, then I don't see why, because in the moment their levels are low enough. But I do understand that part, what she is saying, that their whole life they've had the benefit of having that testosterone and benefiting from that. And then, as you can tell, mostly I have been talking about male to female transgenders, and I just wanted to make the point that there isn't a lot out on the internet about females going to males, and I was just kind of curious as I was doing the research, like why in all these articles it was just talking about transgender women. Well, there's not a lot about there about female to male, because trans men have had less achievements in men's sports. And then there was two people that were shared, if you want to look a little more into this, who are female to male transgenders, and it's is it Patricio Manuel? He was the first pro boxer bout in the U.S., and then Chris Mosiner, who is a world-class triathlete. And then lastly, there's another organization that I found that is called Athlete Alley. It's an organization supporting equality for all athletes. They shared on their website. I looked at it if you want to go check it out. And it was really cool because I think this is important. As you can kind of tell, I'm more so with transgenders being in the Olympics or just sports in general, because it is only fair if they are meeting those requirements, and they should feel like they can compete. So it says, trans women athletes aren't looking to take over women's sports. They are women and want to compete in the sport they love, just as any other athlete would. I love this because it's so true. We just, as a society, we need to become more accepting of these things, because this is what it's becoming. There's lots of people out there who are coming out and who they want to be, and I think that's something that we need to be accepting. And as athletes, as coaches, this is a way of helping getting them accepted into society more and understanding where they're coming from.